Good evening, graduates. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Professor Gorgeous Lady, big up yourself. Debbie, good afternoon. Stacy McDonald, Arlene, Dawn, Beat and Teach, big up yourself. Okay, girl, so nice. Big up yourself. Andreen, big up yourself. Listen. Good evening, graduates. Good evening, everybody. No, I never turn down that. Guys, I'm not gonna stay long, This is going to be a short and sweet, but to the point. So, you guys know I did a short video yesterday. I touched on it. I dabbled on the surface. I did not go too deep because I generally believe that this particular arena is about the elders in the industry of blogging, and it really is for them to expose each other. Yes? We are the observers when it comes to this situation, but I've subsequently heard some things that's definitely kind of made me feel inclined to have a comment. Um, because me can't see certain things are going on and not talk. You understand? Yeah. So I'm sure you see the topic. And I think that some of us are kind of losing focus in terms of what it is that we're meant to be doing out here in these social media streets. Some of us are not, by the way. And I think it's about time that we realign exactly what we're meant to be doing. So, as you all know, the lady of Portland is under examination by the Talk Truth posse, right? It has been brought to light that there are several allegations being made against that individual in Portland's charity and how it's been run. There's been several things said, particularly by one person who was working closely with the lady in Portland. And this person has subsequently provided lots of evidence, be it in the form of receipts or access to groups where certain things were discussed. So therefore, enabling the Talk Truth people to hold on to voice notes and recordings as evidence. The gist of the accusation is that the lady in Portland's particular charity has been handled in a way that enables her to gain personally from donations that are supposed to be for the purpose of feeding the homeless. It is their belief that all the donations that were given and all the monies that were transferred, and I'm not going to get in this whole thing about whether or not, the method of transferal or how the thing went is legitimate or not. I'm going to leave that for now. It is believed that despite the fact that such lady in Portland received funds for the purpose of charity, that she would be persistently on her platform soliciting funds from her audience, while getting quite a hefty payout, amassing to around $2,000 in 1 week. And I'm assuming that's US, right? So, now, obviously, there are certain people on here in social media, in our diaspora, whose entire modus operandi is to identify corruption. So it was not a surprise that the Talk Truth family decided that they were going to go this way. Although what was surprising to me was the fact that they were straying away from their usual target, which is 33 times 3. It was good to see that it was being addressed in terms of any charity. But of course, I had things in the back of my head in terms of whether or not this was done because such lady in Portland made some derogatory remarks towards the Talk Truth boss's family members, right? Okay. So anyway, this information came out. Other bloggers started talking about it. But of course, the Talk Truth family, sometimes they're not very organized with how they present information. And one of their camp actually threw a spanner in the works. That spanner in the works was the fact that actually the informant could very well be incriminating herself based on the information that's being presented and the role she played in the transactions. The Talk Truth boss was not very happy about that. In fact, she was very cross that this information came out. She sought to shut it down quite quickly. And later on, both her and the person who brought forward the information, they obviously had their off-air discussions and managed to draw a line under the subject in favor of supporting the informants. But you don't know how that go already. The horse done gone through the gate. And all that did was sensitize the public, including such lady in Portland, about how they could possibly avoid being blamed or accused or being the central suspect. By putting another person in the firing line of the conversation or the debate, it meant that it gave an opportunity to the lady in Portland to have company in her demise. And if not, shift the blame. We've been hearing a lot of that. I'm not even going to go into her arguments because really and truly, men are really interested. So, of course, a blogger who is looking at things objectively is perfectly within their rights to look at the information that's presented regardless of whom presents it. I heard a really good analysis today by one such blogger who shall remain nameless on this platform. The information was solid. The reasoning was sound. There were pertinent questions being asked. The pertinent questions were around the evidence that was presented in terms of the receipts to show whether or not they firmly confirmed that there was transferring of funds between the informants and the accused. Most of the receipts seemed to make sense, minus one, where there was one indication that the receipt was not clear as a post-transactional receipt. I don't see anything wrong with such investigations because if you are going to accuse anyone of being guilty of a particular thing, you have to have sound evidence upon which to base your allegations, right? So that was one thing. Then there was the whole thing about whether or not the informant also has to take some kind of blame in terms of their participation in the process. Now, there is opinion and then there is fact, graduates. Obviously, it is our opinion that it is clear that such lady in Portland was receiving huge amounts of funds, despite constantly coming to her platform, taking to her platform to ask for further funds from her audience for the purpose of charity. That it does look undermining of that audience if she's giving the impression that she doesn't have it when in fact she does. Right? So yes, we can agree with that opinion that looks away. That looks dishonest. It looks manipulating. And that is a fact in terms of how it looks. It does look manipulating. But there is also a fact. There is the whole conspiracy theory behind who opened what account, under what name, and for what purpose. And whether or not such transactions stand up in the court of law as legitimate. Would they go against transparency? And would they align more along the lines of laundering? All of these things are up for debate and open for debates. And there are clear lines that have been crossed in terms of what legal processes should exist. Whether or not we like to admit it, as bloggers, it is important to be questioning all of the processes so that when you arrive at a conclusion, it is done on sound information. I do not understand why it is that there was a need for such blogger to backpedal. You didn't need to. Everything that you said made sense. Everything that you said was reasoned sensibly and logically, not with emotion and not on the basis of information that you were not privy to. Now, if other bloggers are privy to information that you don't know, the stance should be that, hey, that blogger is not aware of what I'm aware of. So I can understand why that blogger feels the way they do. But I'm privy to more information, which I'm now going to present to the public. Now, this is where I find the whole thing completely, hard to follow in certain ways, because is it a case of I've got extra information which I am not yet going to reveal but will come out in time for the purpose of protecting the informant or for the purpose of building up the narrative for the benefit of a platform? Because ultimately it is about bringing out social injustices so that other vulnerable people are not exploited. And to me, that is a time-sensitive matter. Maybe that's just my opinion. But to me, such things should not be done at a slow pace, but should be presented with hardcore facts and evidence, with a sense of expediency, and repeated should the need be, as opposed to drip feeding. Drip feeding, drip feeding. I don't get that. So at the end of the day, yes, we're saying that the informant may have been doing it out of goodwill. But with all due respect, I could be just like a partner with Robin Hood, robbing from the rich to give to the poor, knowing very well that I'm doing a righteous thing. But doing a righteous thing does not mean that if I don't get arrested, that I won't be going to jail. Because there is street justice and there is policies and procedures that operate within legislation. So at the end of the day, while her heart may be in a good place and that was taken advantage of, it does not negate the facts. It is unfortunate that she has enabled potentially someone to exploit a scenario for personal gain. Now, we've got to remember that there are several streams of income here. There is the income that's coming from a channel. The channel is often dedicated to the act of blogging, be it reliable or unreliable. But the point is, it is built for the purpose of blogging. Therefore, the funds earned from that platform, such individual is perfectly in their rights to have that money to do with whatever they wish, including not to use it for charitable purposes. So if they are earning from their YouTube channel, which is separate and apart from the act of charity, they can choose to use that money, be it for setting up a business, running taxi, whatever the hell they want, mining man, we no business. That is their personal money that they can use for that purpose. They do not necessarily have to say, I am going to give a percentage of this money towards charity. That's one thing. The other thing is the collection of donations for the purpose of charitable acts. Now, if it is that money is being solicited for charity, what I don't understand with some of you donors is how it is that you allow these collections to take place, and there isn't a clear and public record of all of the ins and outs of such transactions. How do you know when you have hit your limit? Meaning that if the person is saying they need X amount of thousands of dollars, how do you know when those X amount of thousands of dollars are reached if it is not publicly declared? Each person should be presented to the public, be it under their real or alias name, to say, I received X from this person, X from that person, and so on, so that there is a complete tally of everything that has gone in. But you people are doing things differently. You're perfectly within your right to do so. But you should be aware of the fact that you leave yourself open for exploitation. Because you might be thinking that this person has earned X amount of, has solicited X amount of thousands of dollars, when in fact it is 10 times that. And that certain amount of money may go towards the feeding of the homeless. But then the rest of it, what happens to that money? What happens to that money? Let me go through some of the comments, right? Make sure that I'm not missing anybody. Okay. So Michelle, big up yourself. I see you. Norma, big up yourself. Blessing Cindy B. Bro Shaka, big up yourself. Antoinette, big up yourself. Angela, Wagwan. Yes, Angie Scott. Hello, hello. Phyllis, big up yourself. Right, so good evening, Wayne. Good evening, producer Wayne in the building. Kerry says, my problem with the informant is why she didn't come forward when she realized all the money was going to the homeless. Well, that is one of the things that I asked as well. We're entitled to ask that question. Why didn't you come forward before, right? From what I can understand from the discussion is that, she was experiencing some frustration with how this person was communicating, constantly bothering her for small money. And even when she ended using a particular channel of collecting the funds, things were still happening and she wasn't very happy and she voiced that displeasure and all of that. So it must have put their relationship under whatever. But what I don't understand, as you said, is why come out in this way? What led to this? What led to her opening up the channels for the Talk Truth boss to enter the group? Why did she choose to do this? To do it in this way, to reveal it in this way, I don't know. But I am still glad that she did. It is better that it's done sooner than later. But she did it when she did it, and it's still better that to having done it than to having not done it, right? It still gives the opportunity for the truth to come to the surface and for people to be aware of the fact that they may be being exploited, right? So I'm not going to judge her too harshly in terms of the fact that she has come out. I am going to raise an eyebrow in terms of why did it take you thus long? And I am not going to also accuse her of taking any funds either, because I don't think it has anything to do with that. And knowing the mouth on the lady in Portland, she would have declared that ages ago. Now she's claiming that, but I don't think she would have waited either. Even the timing of that accusation shows that it is just an argument, just a counteractive argument to try to make herself appear as innocent as possible. And once again, I am also not saying that, such lady in Portland is 100% innocent or guilty, but I am saying that there are certain due processes that did not take place that would have avoided all of this, right? And if it is that the other bloggers have got evidence that shows for a fact that the lady in Portland has been taking money in a dishonest way, then it is for them to come out and chant the fire and that and run the files and dash out everything. It's not my place. I can't say if she's guilty, if she's not guilty. I can only look on what I have seen, right? Now, obviously, what I have seen is lots of receipts showing several transactions to Jamaica National, Western Union, and as I said, one of them was a confirmation, not a post-transactional receipt. So I don't know if that was actually sent or if that was just there, because I also did the check of Western Union on my page, and the edit sign is not there unless you were about to send it, okay? And you had the opportunity to change things. So that's when I saw the edit. I didn't see it in any other way. So as I said, I can only comment on those things. But what's not being very clear, being made very clear, graduates, and I need you to be questioning, because as I said, I do not have a platform of sheep. I do not believe any of you should just be taking in information without questioning it, without looking at it inside and out, upside and down, right? And what I'm saying to you guys is, there are several ways that these monies are coming in, several reasons why these monies are coming in, including her channel income. Now, you tell me if I am not thinking correctly. Surely the YouTube channel income can be handled as a separate income to the income for charity. Surely it means that if she's earning from her YouTube channel, she is not inclined to use that money for the purpose of charity. Talk to me and tell me if you think what I'm saying don't make sense. It's a good thing the other blogger who used to use her account to collect funds for Portland make a dry Tory and bow out for the yeah, that is true. That is true. It's a good thing. Okay, you're with me, Unique. Okay, good. So really, all I'm saying to people is that let's not be clouded by the fact that, oh, this woman in a Portland have one whole bag of money. All right. Yes, she may be greedy. She may be wanting it all for herself. She may be just wants her money to just build up and grow and want to use other people's money for the charity. But if we look at things in terms of how businesses are established, including a charity body, it is not a must that the person who is running a charity uses their personal funds for the purpose of charitable donations. It is not a must. Okay? What is a must is that should she be earning from her channel, she should be declaring the funds and paying taxes. That is another thing. How is the government keeping a tab on the earnings from YouTube, from bloggers and influencers, in order to ensure that the appropriate taxes are paid? That is one question to be asked, because I know that for us over here, we have got to declare our earnings for our self-assessment as self-employed, and all of those receipts and so on have to be accounted for to show that we have earned X amount within the financial year. The government will then say that for your self-assessment tax, you have to pay X percentage in tax back to the government for your earnings, right? So at the end of the day, that is the only thing with that. Her personal money is her business. That's right, Kerry. Now, with that said, and that apart, the donations, however, in terms of how they're handled, is where there might be issues around transparency. And what's not being made clear and evident from the presentation of what's coming out from the Talk Truth section is, where are these monies coming from? What were they for? And, that's the reason why it was handed over to her. By just throwing up all these random receipts and dates, you just show us that she have money. That's my point. Yeah, show us that she have money. You're showing us a timeline. I agree. During that timeline, I can go and check on our channel and I can see that at that time, me did Sierra beg. At that time, me did Sierra feed. At that time, me Sierra beg. But I don't know if that money that you are showing that was transferred was from YouTube earnings or from donations specifically. Because even in one of the voice notes, I can hear her clearly saying that, oh, I received X amount of money from my YouTube channel. And that I took a percentage of that to then pay for something to do with charity. Therefore, you don't have to rush to give me that money. That is what I heard. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. So my thing is this. Make it clear. And I don't see what is wrong with telling you guys to be clear with how you present evidence, because clarity is very important if you want the internet to rise up and support everything that you guys are saying. You can't just go, oh, don't say that because defend the girl there, and the girl they are wicked, and the girl they thief. No, that's not how it works. We're all thinking beings and entitled to our opinions, but we're also entitled to be critical thinkers. And if it is that we are supposed to swallow this hook, line, and sinker, it would be appreciated if you laid out your information in a way that made systematic and logical sense. Show us the source in terms of, okay, I sent this transaction to her on this date. This 500 odd US dollars came from donations that you can hear her clearly asking for in video dated X. See the link here. By doing that, both things will align and it will go, okay, so she'd have begged for this amount of money. This is how much she got, right? And then now subsequently, she says she only get this in the video when I really that. Do you see what I'm saying? I just need it to make sense. So the YouTube was also in the informant's name. I don't know nothing about that, my love. In the beginning, she said that her plan was to use her YouTube money to help with the feeding. That has since changed. And this is a thing. Now, Cindy, if she had said that, right, that in itself is dubious behavior. So remember I said that there's opinions and there's facts, right? There are certain things that we can see as guilty behavior. And we can make our own deductions on the basis of things like this. If she said that, oh, I'm going to use my YouTube channel to finance my charity, and then she subsequently changed her mind, that is a lack of transparency. That is unethical in itself, and that will lead to mistrust, because you don't know exactly how much the earnings are on YouTube, and you don't know exactly how much of a percentage is going towards charity, right? But at the end of the day, she is crossing over in terms of the resource that she's using and the output. If I am going to be saying that, okay, I am going to be doing a channel and then I'm going to be paying money towards this, I have not committed to telling you the percentage that I'm going to be using. So you guys are in the dark. It's not like she's saying, guys, I'm going to give X amount every month, because by now she knows on average how much her YouTube earnings can be. The least it will be. Okay, there's a pattern to it. And if she knows that the least it will be is X amount of thousands, then she can say, okay, guys, I'm going to give 1,000 US every month. And if anybody else wants to contribute, they can contribute. That's a different cup of tea. But by keeping you guys in the dark, you do not know how much she is earning from her YouTube channel. And therefore, you don't know how much she's willing to give. And she can make it look as though there is little bit in the kitty, so she have to beg. But you see, you people are not demanding transparency. So those people who are following her and donating to her are always going to be at risk of exploitation. Always. If she indeed said that, then it is clear that there is a deceptive thing going on. Because if what this person is saying is true, and that she was sending her these amounts of monies, then there really should be very little reason for her to be asking for even more from her followers. But as you can see, there was investments in her own personal business, and she saw the money coming in and realized that she can't invest for herself. She can't start run taxi. She can't start do this, do that, whatever. And she went and committed to something that she really wanted for herself. Now, at the end of the day, it is that cloak and dagger behavior that will cause things like this in any small charity. Any small charity at all. But how long since she getting paid from YouTube, and from what year the receipt they show are from? The receipts I am seeing so far, I think they're from 2022. How many homeless people in Portland was she feeding once a week? I don't even think it's that much. It's in the teens, isn't it? You're speaking facts. Help your family instead of giving money to strangers. Well, Miss Powell, I think that is a great sentiment. Some family are jankro. I'm sorry. Don't think that because you have family, you should be helping them first. Not no go so. No, don't even get that twisted. Because a lot of family members are jankro. And some of the family members, them are better you help stranger, because you go help them and them start dig out your eye. So nobody thinks it is more important to help family all the time. No, it isn't. Because sometimes you cannot choose your family, but you can certainly choose the strangers you choose to help. You understand? So I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Because I can see from some people's family dynamics, it's best them stay away from them. You understand? So all I can say is this, guys, that I don't see anything wrong with pointing out the obvious. If the informant has opened up accounts in such lady's name, that in itself is a fraudulent transaction. It don't work, right? I don't even know how that happened. Right? Now, two, if that person is collecting on behalf of that person, that is a fraudulent transaction. It's not supposed to happen, right? You're not supposed to be collecting monies for other people in other countries with other tax laws. It's not legal. So, why are we pretending as though it's not a problem? It's a problem. Whether or not she's done it out of the goodness of her heart is not the issue. Let's not mix up opinions with facts. If in your opinion, she is deserving of a blight, because we sister, she had tried straighten the thing and she had tried come clean and she had tried fix the matter. That is fine, all well and good. But we can't just leave this young lady out there, I don't even know if she's young or she old, but the woman out there vulnerable. Because at the end of the day, by not making her aware that, listen, these things have risk, she might have run out and say too much. You have to put her on her guard so that she share appropriately and accordingly. And it was even reiterated on the Talk Truth platform as well. So why are we pretending as though it's not the case? Huh? And that by saying that it means, give that one the loophole. No, because there are several things that it points to when it comes to how that lady is running her charity. That it is not transparent, that there's too many avenues, too many ways that people can be left in the dark about the transactions taking place behind closed doors. That things are not being done in a legitimate way. The mere fact that she has somebody else operating the transaction shows that in itself means she's avoiding due process. Right? And some of us are too comfortable with dodginess, too comfortable with it. And this is how our own government can dupe us, because we don't question everything. Straighten up the thing and tell the woman how to do things the right way. There you go, unique treasure. Correct. Right? I always wonder why they can't be transparent with the amount they collected in these Cash App accounts. Yes, I don't get it either. Right? But really and truly, things are going to change in Jamaica fairly soon. You've seen the law that the Jamaican charities are not going to be run this way for much longer. So they are going to reap as much as they can in a short space of time. Be aware of that too, people of Jamaica. Because at the end of the day, if the law is about to change and even unregistered small charities like such lady in Portland will be forced to register or close, things will have to change. Therefore, they're aware that this is becoming a time-limited exploitation. And if it's a time-limited thing, they're going to go out of their way to get as much as they possibly can in a short space of time. You're going to be hearing all kinds of scenarios, all kinds of things popping up, all kinds of needs, all kinds of disasters, all kinds of things are going to come up now. And I'm not talking specifically about Miss Portland. I'm talking about all them tiny charities, about the place in general, who may not be transparent. Because them have to go dig out on the eye. Quickly. Quick and fast. You understand? So once you see such patterns emerging, where the begging is becoming overbearing, or it's a case of, listen, what you are clearly earning from a good amount of views. People in a tech much maths, you know, just Google on average how much per 1,000 views you can get on YouTube, and just check and do the maths, no man. Do the maths, no? And realize that this individual is earning a good money. Right? So if they had committed to you as the followers, to you as the potential donors, that they are going to be giving a percentage of their YouTube earnings, hold them to account, no man. And say, well, how much are you going to be giving? We will match you. What are you putting in? We will put in. If you still want to support, because nobody said, you know, if you're not comfortable with lack of transparency, then hey, right? But I'm saying, hold them to account. You understand? And then if you hold them to account, this sounds like the way one Kingston blogger do things. And if you hold them to account and make sure that it's a match fund situation, meaning that they are putting in a percentage and therefore you put in another percentage, then it means that there is a balance. No, Lord Jesus, me not have not a penny for feed the homeless this week. Why me not have no money for pay them at all? No one will divulge that info. Which info? As I said, they don't have to listen to what I said, you know. They do not have to divulge how much they are earning in their YouTube balance. They don't. Because like I said, she may have committed to that verbally, but things may have changed. And she may decide that, listen, you know, I'm only going to give a percentage now because I'm earning way too much to dash all of this into charity. But what she can say is be fair to her audience and don't exploit them. And say, okay, in total, for example, if I need 10,000 Jamaican dollars to do the shopping for the homeless, I'm being very basic, then I'm going to put forward 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. Who can give me the rest? Right? Who can give me the rest? And then that way, you are holding her to accountability, that she does not shy away from her promise, and that there are many other opportunities for you to still work with her, but she is not being parasitic on your pockets. Dragon got over $1 million of Jamaican dollars. Yes, indeed. I believe there's a falling out. That's why this lady come out. You need church. I'm never business with that. I don't business if there's a falling out or a bribe or no business. I really don't. I think what's important is that she has come out. The information is damning in that it is clear that there are more funds being worked with than what is being declared. But I am saying they need to be very clear with exactly where these funds are coming from, so that it is even more clear that there is exploiting going on of the masses. If you can't get a tax write-off from donating to charity, don't do it. Well, that is it. That is it, right? So guys, like I said, I'm not going to come and stay long. I just wanted you guys to be reflecting on this and to just know that there is nothing wrong with questioning these processes, right? And like I said, it's likewise, while it is, we don't want to give this woman a loophole. We don't want her escape. If she a scammer, she will go down. All of that is good. We want all of that. But I'm saying don't dumb down the intelligence on the media. Don't. Because the intelligence is that at the end of the day, if due processes were followed, none of this would be a discussion, and that each of the parties are a contributory factor to the fact that due processes were not taking place in a legitimate way. If it's about protecting the informant, we can understand that, but you guys have to be calculating in terms of how to ring fence her from any potential future damage. Unfortunately, a lot of damage has already taken place based on how she has presented the information. Right? So where that has happened now, it's about damage control. How do you control the damage that has already gone out there? You can't do that by just throwing in an emotive and going, lower because I at I read, please. That's not enough. You think say Uncle Sam business with that? Taxman don't care. So I'm saying, how else can you handle this so that you are focusing on where you should be focusing? Right? There should be a cap for each activity, and when the cap is reached, there should be a pause on the amount declared. Amen. I like that. Right? They should change what you can ask for from the GoFundMe restaurant. Hey, beat that ditch. Beat that ditch. Don't mix me. Me don't want them people that come over here go torment my soul. Worse I come here have a toothache, you know. No, sir, me might have cuss bad words. So me don't want nobody come bother me about that. I've already made my point clear about that. I said, people, if you don't want to dash the money and dash the money, but make sure that your financial circumstances are solid before you go investing in other people's, sowing seed in other people's life. The YouTube monies has nothing to do with the person collecting money on her behalf. This afternoon, she said, every month we get me YouTube money from Western Union block me. Well, as I said, it's still not clear because there was a voice note where the person say that they might collect from this person for YouTube, so that the next person don't have to hurry up and send nothing and blah blah blah. So me no know, me not sure. It's still not sure, right? It's still not 100% sure. There's too much crossing of boundaries when it comes to the transactions. If all of these monies are specifically from donors, I'm saying what would really help the scenario is show the receipt, then go, okay, this receipt was for the begging that happened in this video. In this video, she was asking for X amount for feeding the homeless. If you notice in that video, yeah, when she asked for X amount, she asked for only 10,000. In the end, from the collection, she received 500,000. She used the 10,000 to feed the homeless, but she pocket the 400,000. Then it's a clear cut, is a clear cut nail in a coffin case. Nothing that there's of argue. I'm saying there's too many gray areas. We ain't sure what this did for, where this come from, who it for, where it used for. All of those things are still up in the air. And if those other bloggers who are the experts already have this information, I'm not seeing the purpose of withholding it and drip feeding it in such a way that people are still questioning the informant. Do you see what I'm saying? YouTube monies has, yes. So I'm just saying, just make it clear to us, the audience. Make it clear what these monies were from, who they're from, why they were used, right? And is it that there was a massive balance left outside of the collected amount, and this was not openly declared on her platform? You see, because you guys keep leaving these loopholes, she still can over there run our mouth, and then other people who are there as vulnerable potential donors are still going to be exploited. And the aim is to fight corruption and to protect charities. So why are we not treating this as a time-sensitive matter? And why are we dumbing down the intelligent questions being asked? Anyway, guys, me gone. Like up the live before on a leave. Like up the live before on a leave. Thank you very much for attending class with Head Teacher K. Good night.